staring at me like that? What's up, guys? My name's Jay. We're here with Josh Crolls, owner of Crollscustoms over here in Slatington, Pennsylvania. If you guys don't know who he is one of the top builders on the East Coast, if anything, in the United States. He's built many cars for SEMA, many show cars for other shows like Tuner Evolution, Weekfest, etc. Today I wanted to interview him to go over a few things so he can show the world what he's done, let them know the man behind the myth, the legend. So let's talk to him a little bit. So let's talk about how many years of experience do you have? How long have you been doing it though?
Too many years.
Too many years. You're not even that old.
Man. 31.
Stop it.
31 years
I'm older.
Probably since I was 13 with my dad.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Rainbows were black and white then, right?
Yeah, something like that. But no, I mean, that was the first time I actually started. I messed with cars since I was in a stroller. I went to car shows with my parents, since I was born.
Your dad used to work on cars?
Mm-hmm. Still does.
He did body work?
Yes, on the side.
On the side.
Restoration work, Mustangs.
All right. And you started working on cars. You did that at 13. Mm-hmm. And then when did you decide that this is what it is you want to do?
That day.
That day, at 13 years old?
I always knew.
So you always knew this was it?
There was never another option.
Did you play with like toy cars and?
Yeah.
Did you ever have those not the remote control cars? What do you call the ones that
Models?
Yeah, you sit in and you just drive them. Like
go karts.
Not go karts. Are they considered go karts?
I did all of it.
Guys, in the comments, tell me what it is. If you got a kid and you put them in those small cars.
Power wheels.
Power wheels, yeah.
Power wheels, yes.
Yeah.
No, not much of a power wheel guy.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Everything else. Big on model cars before I could drive. Customizing model cars. Taking cars and trucks that were just part of plastic kits and shaving door handles, putting custom paint on when I was probably 12, 13 years old.
So it's in your blood, basically.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
That's all you know?
That's all I do.
That's all you do? You work, how many days a week do you work?
7.
7 days?
If there were 8, I would do it.
If there was 8, how many hours a day? Don't tell me 24.
No, I'm here pretty much every single day by 8. And if it's a deadline weekend or week, I'll be here till whenever I can't work anymore. Normal week, probably 8, 9 o'clock at night. 12-hour days, right. 13-hour days.
So we'll touch base on all that other stuff. But now let's talk about what was the first car that you've built. So now you're 13, you're working on cars with your dad. Now you're getting older. What's the first car you decided to build?
The first one I ever was a part of was 13. My mother's Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds.
Get out. Wait, that's a 69 Mustang?
67?
67
yeah.
Mustang Eleanor.
Yeah, so.
She had an Eleanor?
Mm-hmm. When the movie was still hot.
Get out.
This was probably late 2002, 2003.
What color was it?
The exact movie car. It was gray, black stripes.
Gray with the black stripes?
But at the time, I was just getting into this. I talked my dad into shaving the door handles. We did that. I learned how to weld on that car. We did everything. Did an audio enclosure in the back. We molded the fenders to the car, molded the body kit on. It was like my first taste of that deep of custom work.
Okay. Where is that car right now?
She had it up until 2 years ago. And then she sold it and bought a new Shelby. Just a daily.
Oh, man.
We had that car. That car was the beginning of everything with me and the shop and my family and traveling to car shows. It was always my RSX and her Mustang. We even each had stickers on each other's windshields that said, my son's DC-5 is faster, and I had my mom's Mustang is faster.
Get out. So did you feel it when she sold it?
It did. I trailered it to Florida. We did it as a family, and it was my mother, my father, and me. And it hit when we got to Florida. We turned not on his street, but on the road to get to his street, and it just clicked. It was like, oh my God, we're not coming home with this car. My dad and I wanted to keep it. She wanted something that was drivable.
Yeah.
The car ran its course. It was probably 15 or 16 years we've had that car, maybe longer. And every show that you can imagine, states and wherever we wanted to go, anniversary shows.
Do you think the person that owns it now appreciates the work you did?
Yeah, they still talk. They stay friends.
Yeah.
Then my mom. Yeah, he refreshed a lot of it because it was so old, and he loves it. But when we took it right before drop off, it hit. It was an emotional time.
Man, to the owner that owns that Eleanor, You're welcome.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Jesus Christ. All right, so
But yeah,
listen,
that was that. My first car that I built for myself was when I was 15.
okay. What
My
was
grandfather passed away. I got a 4-door Subaru Impreza.
that?
Everybody thinks I'm a Honda guy. I am not a Honda guy. I have Hondas. I drive them. You know, I got this, which is a long story, but I started off with Subarus.
I know you got a checkered shirt and a hat for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate on that one. You're
but yeah,
vaping. Oh, he's
no.
not vaping.
No, I mean, he passed away. I got the car for free. It was the only time my parents ever really bought me anything for cars because I couldn't even work. I didn't have a job. I just turned 15. So they bought me a body kit. You know, this was early 2000s. I was still in school.
This one, Fast and Furious, came out. Right?
Yeah.
The first one.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't
Yeah.
drive. I did shaved door handles, shaved moldings, flip-flop trunk where it would open, and then pivot. I had a full fiberglass audio enclosure in the trunk that was color matched, and I painted the engine bay and
Get out.
had a body kit, lowered it. You know, that was. But at the time, it was nice, and I think that was the turning point because I didn't have the experience, but the way that the car was finished, it looked like, you know,
Like you've had years of it.
it just clicked. You know, the taste was there, everything was there.
So that car kind of set off your career.
Yeah. And then I had, at the time I was in a car club. I couldn't even drive at the shows. I was too young. Didn't even have my permit. I was a year away when that
So
car was
you were
done.
in a car club with no license?
No license. And it took a lot of convincing to let me in when they saw the car, and I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting this.
Do you talk to those guys still or no?
The main ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
we you know, still
What was the
talk.
name of it?
Excessive Habits.
Excessive
Mhm.
Habits.
And it was, at the time, it was, man, early 2000s car shows were different. It was huge. It was custom. So you had mini trucks, you had European cars. At the time, there was like Euro lowrider magazines and stuff like that, and Super Street. You couldn't see everything in one day at these shows. So at the time, it fit. I had a crooked license plate that was molded in the front bumper and the rear bumper. But yeah, one of the guys drove it to the shows for me because I couldn't take it.
Wow.
Up until a year, and then after that, I mean, I showed it a couple times, but it was my daily, and then I crashed it, or it got crashed. I should say.
Oh,
It
man.
was young, yeah. So then I got this in state college. Crashed.
Crashed.
Yeah. So my RSX was crashed 3 times by the same girl, and her dad owned a body shop. So that's the story of my car.
That's an X.
He kept fixing it.
That's an X for a reason.
No, not next. It was on eBay.
No, I'm saying an X. Ex-girlfriend for a reason.
It wasn't my ex.
No, it wasn't? Oh,
No.
my God.
No, I found the car on eBay.
Okay.
After the Impreza got totaled,
Oh,
I was
okay.
cruising eBay. I wanted to get something, and I found, this is how I became an RSX guy.
Oh,
Not a Honda guy.
Okay.
I
Oh,
found, this was probably 2007, 2006.
Okay.
I found a 2002 Acura RSX Type S, 60,000 miles, hit in the front, hit in the side, black on black Type S for $3,500.
What?
So I bought it.
What?
I was a high school junior with a Type S that was only 4 years old.
Wow.
Wrecked. I had to fix it, and I didn't.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't really know collision stuff. I knew enough to like customize cars, but not like grad sports on,
Your dad helped you
quarters
with
on.
that?
Yeah, we did it together. And then that car started my business. That was everything when it was candy red.
Yeah, so now I remember the candy red. What bumper was that? Was that a J?
Backyard special.
Oh,
Yeah.
the backyard special.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen his scroll his Instagram page all the way to the bottom somewhere.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go way back.
Yeah, there's a picture in there somewhere of his RSX, and
Yeah.
man, that thing was gorgeous. So now you had that RSX, and what happened to that one?
That every time you see a picture of Crollscustoms RSX, it's the same car. So the candy red, it was my first candy paint job, my first right-hand drive conversion, my first shade bay, my first wide body, everything. And I took it into starting a career in 2010. So that the car was done, turbo and everything, right-hand drive, still red. And then throughout the years, it wasn't the first car I took to SEMA, but it was at SEMA when it was white and wide body.
Okay. So that was your first SEMA car.
My personal car, yes.
Personal car.
It was my second SEMA. Yeah.
Second SEMA, first personal car. So
Yeah.
now that we've touched base on SEMA,
Yeah.
what was the first car you built for SEMA?
The first actual car, I got super lucky, and it was actually a manufacturer's car for Honda. So it was in the Honda booth. This was a 2012 Honda Civic Si coupe, wide body for Fox Marketing, and it was the car that we developed the full race kit on. So any 9th gen full race kit was developed off of that car, and that was 2011. It was a 2012 model year.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I got the call one day. I had a shop for a year and a half, and I got the call to the big leagues. This tiny little shop in Reading.
How did you feel when you got that phone call?
It was exciting, but it's always nervous. You know, it's always nerve wracking because I don't say no to things. So I kind of I got approached to do it, and instantly I was like, yes, let's just do it. I'll figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
You know, I'll handle it. I've done other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like deadlines and last minute shit is kind of what I'm known for. So
But that's not an opportunity you want to pass anyways.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. I mean, it got close. SEMA, it's the hardest deadline you could ever meet.
And most stressful, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, because it's not like all the other local shows. There's going to be one next year. Or it's just a car show. There's one the following weekend. SEMA is SEMA. You have money riding on these cars. You have manufacturers riding on these cars.
Yeah.
Sponsors riding on these cars. Real sponsors. You know, not like percentages off of parts like everything is today. I mean, it's
like here you go. This needs to be in there.
These are parts that are developed for these cars, and
Yeah.
they expect them to be there. Yeah.
So if you had to compare SEMA from the first build that you put in to SEMA that you just went to with Corey's Subaru,
Yeah.
have you seen a change in the way the show is run?
Oh yeah, yeah. The biggest thing is SEMA is so much more inclusive for imports, especially now with the Battle of the Builders. The category for imports is so huge, and it's pretty recent. Last year with Muzzy's car was the first year that they really broke those categories down. So you had the young guns, hot rods, trucks and off road, and imports. And they give you a fair shot.
Yeah. Now Young Guns was in Tuner Evolution last year,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. There was a competition with Young Guns in Tuner Evolution, and I actually applied for it. And they called me, and I was on my way to California for my birthday. So they called me while I'm waiting on the plane. I forget the guy's name. He's like, Jay, and I'm like, yeah. He goes, he goes, so you're sitting down right now? I said, yeah, I'm on the flight going to California. He goes, I got good news and bad news. And I was like, okay. I'm hoping the bad news is he's going to tell me that you got to get off the flight because we got to get your car here or something like that. So I'm like, all right, give me the news. I didn't want to choose. So he goes, well, the good news is you're on a flight to California. The bad news is you're too old. And I went, what?
Oh wow.
He goes, the age limit I think was like 26 or 25.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I was just going to celebrate my 32nd birthday in California, so I missed that one.
I have an age story too. You know, before this was a thing, I did the Scion. It was
the orange right-hand drive.
That was probably the biggest SEMA car I've done. Not necessarily the best, but the biggest. And that was my corporate car. The Civic was for another builder. But the Scion was like career changing. That was the only right-hand drive Scion in the world. Still is.
I love this story.
Not a Toyota, but an actual Scion. As far as like the TC and stuff is concerned, it's a North American car only.
Yeah.
So it was in Motor Trend and everything as the only right-hand drive. And I did that because I was just stupid. I love right-hand drive conversions, and I always wanted to do the tuner challenge. My late friend Sean Baker did it before me.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Sean.
Yeah, he was the first call I made. So we did the rendering. I had to do what I do. So it was the shade bay, it was the right-hand drive conversion. Did I know I could do it? No. You know, it was one of those things.
Kind of just winged it.
Until it started, I didn't think I could do it. But I knew I had to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we just chugged along, and there was a couple days where we couldn't get it to fire, and that was because of the immobilizer. But everything else was fine. I mean, that car was fully tucked, everything. No wires in the bay, Willwood pedals.
Now, how'd you get the right-hand drive conversion?
Made everything.
So you converted it yourself to right. You never got a clip from anywhere.
There's
no clip because it's USDM market.
Yeah. So the basic is the steering wheel houses the power steering assembly for the Scion, which is electric. It's actually behind the dash, which was nice.
Okay.
So we kept power steering. The rack is a 350Z rack. That's right-hand drive.
Oh.
We had a spare. I made it fit the subframe for the Scion, and then I used half of the inner tie rods and half of the Scion tie rods. So you had perfect spacing, alignment was fine, but it was just a 350Z rack that worked.
And how did it drive?
Perfect. No problems whatsoever.
Crazy.
Yeah.
If you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yeah. There's a lot out there. That's 2013 Scion Tuner Challenge. You'll see it's orange, right-hand drive. You can't miss it.
So now, I know where it went, but tell them what happened to that car.
I don't even know. You know, I supposedly we all got the call on the same weekend that they were supposed to go back to California. So we knew that Scion was closing before anybody else knew it was closing. We all kind of got the call, and we're told you can't speak about this publicly. We just need to get the cars back, because after SEMA I proposed to get the vehicle back to do a tour, and nobody else did. So I was the only one from that year that actually had the car back in my possession. I toured with it everywhere.
So Scion, after all that work you put in, Scion took it back.
It was their car. That's how that one worked out. It was $15,000 limit. You could get sponsorships, and obviously the labor is free and all that stuff. That's what they gave you in the car, but it was their car.
Yeah.
And then they did that for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I was the last individual builder to do that.
Wow.
My year, because after that it went to corporate. It was media, and after that it was something else. I can't think of what it was, but as far as individual people, we were the last year.
Wow. Definitely check out that car. Google it. I'm sure it's up if you Google it.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. All right, so I'm assuming that was the most difficult car you've built.
It had its times, yeah. There's different levels of difficulty though, because that car was difficult because there was nothing out there. I had to do everything from scratch. But then you get the difficulty where that car was beautiful and it was the best I could have done, but it was only 3 months. Then you get something like Corey's car, which is the pink Subaru, and you're talking 6 years. And every square inch of that car
has to be touched.
Perfection. Not just touched. It has to be, like, the door jambs are buffed in that car. They're flat sanded and buffed.
Wow.
It's the best car I've ever done in my life. It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, and that car came out amazing. You made top 40, right? At the Battle of the Builders. Top 40. Actually, it's right here. So it's supposed to be airing January 26th on Drive, FYI, on the History Channel. So Sunday 9 a.m. January 26th, Battle of the Builders. Definitely check it out. I'm not sponsored by Battle of the Builders, so I'm just Bearders. Battle of the Bearders.
You're too old to be sponsored anyway.
Battle of the I don't know if I could curse on YouTube. So anyways, check it out, Battle of the Builders.
But the year before that, we made top 3 score compacts with the Z, the right-hand drive 350Z, Muzzy's car.
Yeah, Muzzy's right-hand drive 350Z. That car was phenomenal, and he sold it.
He did so. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about that.
Talk about that.
All right. So, what if you had to choose any car out there? What would be the car you would like to choose
to build right now?
To build right now.
A 32 Ford.
Get a 32 Ford?
Yeah, I love imports, but I just...
I knew it was going to be American. I knew it.
I started seeing myself drawn to hot rods. I still haven't built one, but it just subconsciously became all I cared about.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, even as far as like backgrounds on phones, everything's hot rods.
Wow. Show it to the camera. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but...
no, it's just the evolution of what I started to love. I grew up on muscle cars.
Yeah.
Never really loved them. And then fell into imports, grew to love them. But everything I do is because of hot rods. So the choices I make, the color choices, the material choices, all those things that they do is what I've been doing. And that's why it works so much. That's why everything works so well and flows so nicely.
You're putting hot rod colors basically on imports.
Yeah.
And people are kind of used to just the basic colors on imports.
And their touches. Things like even this with doing all aluminum. Just satin aluminum instead of going overboard polished or chrome or any of that stuff. It's just, even the culture. I love everything about hot rods.
So if somebody came and knocked on your door and said, I have a 32 Ford I want you to build.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So if you know anybody who has a 32 Ford, send them his way.
Yeah.
He might even help him with a little BJ or something.
Nah, I'll give you a little bit of a discount, but just so you don't get a divorce.
Yeah.
not even like they're doing now with putting import motors and stuff into it.
Yeah.
I strictly want to build a traditional hot rod.
So would you consider buying one that's wrecked and just doing it on your own?
Yeah, I mean, right now the way that's going to go is a steel body,
Yeah.
probably like a Brookville, and just start from scratch.
Because you know these back roads when I'm driving
There's some out here. I know where they are.
you just see them just sitting there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, no, I know where they are.
Yeah.
The problem is the getting someone to sell it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean that's it. But that's what I'm going to do next for sure.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing drifting. But
yeah, we'll touch base on the.
But yeah,
drifting,
as far as a car build, it's going to be an older Ford.
Yeah. So right now, this is what you're currently working on.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it that you're doing to this exactly? What is your goal? What is it you're trying to?
I'm building 17-year-old Josh's car the way that 31-year-old Josh would build it.
Okay.
So everything I always wanted to do to my RSX and all the things I've learned over the years is going into this. So everything I did is the best way I possibly could have done it, if that makes sense.
So now your old blue RSX that you had, was that your old red one?
Yeah.
This is the same car.
Technically, yes.
So the red one that you originally built, this is the chassis.
Yeah.
Okay, so he still has it. In
Yeah,
case those are wondering what happened to it.
17 to 31, I've owned this car.
17 to 31, 14 years. So now, let's talk about the blue one that you, because you went from red, you changed it, went to blue. You had a full roll cage that was extended into the engine bay.
Yeah, we were chasing things back then.
Right? So now, talk about, because people have probably seen that and be like, wow, man, that was crazy. Like, how did you think of that? Why did you do it? And how did it drive after you did it?
A lot of this was before Instagram. That's how long ago that was. And the only reason I did it is because we were chasing trophies. Honestly, I tried to take the car way too far. And at that time, the racy theme imports were the way to go. Cage, I had slicks on at the time for SEMA. I had the Buddy Club wide body, gutted. Loved it at the time, hated it every day after it was finished. Ruined the car. And it never really got finished. So
you didn't get to enjoy it?
No. No, I went to SEMA that way. It was gutted and everything like that.
Yeah.
I showed it all of 2013. But it never clicked. And then it sat for a couple of years. And I just started this last winter.
Yeah.
And now it's back to a street car. It has AC, it has heat, it has a full interior. It's rear caged. It's not fully caged.
Yeah.
It's just back where it should be.
So you're driving an enjoyable car. You're making an enjoyable car that you can drive off.
I'm building it the way it should have been built all these years.
All these years. All right.
So the way you're going to see it is what I've learned over 10 years of having a business and 14 years of owning the car.
So everything is really going into this car as far as experience that you have. So
And
this is your experience.
Yeah, not chasing trophies.
Not chasing trophies.
I'm chasing the drive.
The drive.
That's all I want to do with this car.
And you know what's going to happen is you're chasing the drive and you're going to win the trophies because you chased the
If
drive.
it happens, it happens. I haven't even entered shows in a long time.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just want to drive it. I want it to be nice out. Hear the turbo. Just.
The first show that you're doing is at Springfest in May.
Yeah, that's probably when I'll have it done.
Okay. So look forward. So you heard it here first. Springfest, Virginia Beach, May 31st.
Yeah.
Right, May 31st. He will be there. God willing, with this, I will be there with mine.
We're gonna have a bunch of cars.
And
Corey's car will be there.
Oh, Corey's car's gonna be
the
there.
SEMA car will be there.
I get to park next to a SEMA. No,
Yeah,
you're not gonna put him near me. You're not gonna put him near me.
No, the usual suspects will be there. It'll be us.
Yeah.
Brandon with the purple right-hand drive Civic.
Okay. What about Sylvia?
Maybe. Muzzy will have the Porsche.
Okay.
We'll have a good
Yeah,
show.
we're gonna have a pretty good turnout. Yeah, we're gonna have a pretty good turnout, and
Yeah,
then
we
after
do.
that, it'll end up being. I mean, he's gonna do his other shows, but probably Tuner Revolution after that. That's the next one we're
Can't
looking
miss
forward
Tuner
to.
Evo.
I would never miss Tuner Evo. Springfest and Tuner Evo are two shows I will never miss.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't care if I gotta push the car in there. Right? All right, so we know what you're currently building. Last question, because I'm sure this thing's already gone like 30 minutes. Instagram question. What materials do you use for shaving, such as filler and welding, and any advice you can give on doing the engine bays?
That's the thing that everybody always asks because it's what they want to do themselves.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself, but it's probably not going to go too well. And it's just the way it is. It's just a learning curve. I used to MIG weld everything. I used to MIG weld the seams and all the holes shut, and that was my shave. Then it turned into plating. So instead of welding every hole shut and all that stuff, I would actually make plates. Mm-hmm. But instead of just filler plates, I would actually shape sheet metal to fit and make aprons or make frame rail caps or stuff like that, because it cuts down everything. You're cutting down welding, you're cutting down filler, you're using the metal to fill everything. Mm-hmm. And then you just use a little bit of filler over your welds in the corners, and you pretty much have a bulletproof bay.
Okay.
But when you do need filler, I use a lot of 3M.
3M.
Mm-hmm. I'll use Duraglass if you need it, or some kind of fiber reinforced body filler to start. Mm-hmm. Fiberglass stuff. But the biggest problem that I think people try to do is to use like a panel bond. It's very common. They'll think that they can just fill panel bond in the seams and get away with it. It cracks. You can't put filler over top of it. It shrinks. That's like the number one rule you cannot do. If it needs to be welded, it has to be welded. You can't just try to. You
can't just fill it and cover it.
You can't do it. That's the mistake everybody makes.
Okay.
That's the golden rule.
Golden rule.
Metal glaze, I see a lot, is not just for metal, just because of the name. Metal glaze is glazing putty, which is very thin, very brittle. It's only supposed to go over top of body filler to fill in minor pinholes, minor sand scratches, things like that. So then my process goes very far after that. And that's the reason that I charge so much for bays. That's why they last so long. I'll go through all the metal work. I'll go through all the filler work. I'll epoxy prime the entire engine bay to make sure everything bites and it has adhesion and corrosion protection. And then I'll go through and actually polyester primer the entire engine bay, which is basically sprayable body filler.
Really?
Yeah. So not only are you filling the whole bay, but then you're polyester primering the bay. Yeah. Now you're back to square one. You got to sand every square inch again, and it's thick. So I'll 180 that. Yeah. And then I'll primer it again with like a urethane primer.
So this guy's not just going in your bay and sanding and weld and prime and paint. He's going above and beyond to make sure that bay is immaculate. Yeah. It is not. This is his name. This is his life. His life revolves around what he does, and you don't want that to be tainted with some bad work.
The bays are my favorite thing. That's kind of what I slowly got known for, and it's my favorite thing to do. So.
All right. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jay. This is Josh, owner of Crollscustoms in Slatington, Pennsylvania. His Instagram is Crollscustoms. My Instagram is GlazeDC5. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned to the next video.
See you guys at Springfest.
Springfest.